It's 6:30 a.m. and it is time to wake up. You don't have an alarm. Instead, the smart blinds in your bedroom open, letting in just a silver of morning sun. In the kitchen, you hear the muffled hiss of the espresso machine. It knew you were awake because your mattress sensor tracked your heart rate, shifting into a waking state. By the time your feet hit the floor, the hallway lights have glowed to a soft amber, and the thermostat has nudged the temperature to a perfect 72 degrees. Every step is automated and done for you in the morning. All you have to do is wake up. This is the magic we were promised. We have turned our ordinary living spaces into living organisms, which are responsive, intuitive, and devoted to our comfort. Suddenly, the blinds start snapping shut and opening over and over again, like teeth chattering. You reach for your phone to check the smart home app, but the screen is unresponsive. Then the thermostat. You watch the display climb 85, 90, 95 degrees. You try to turn it down manually, but the dial is locked. Then comes a sound from the other corner of the house, and it is not music. It's a distorted voice coming through the smart speaker in the corner of the room, laughing like something out of a nightmare. And then you realize the camera on your bookshelf, the one you bought to keep an eye on the dog, the little blue active light is on and it is moving, following you across the room. This is a reality that has played out in suburbs of Ohio to Osaka. We have spent the last decade inviting the Internet of Things into our bedrooms, our nurseries, and our front doors. We did it for the convenience. We did it for the magic. But in our rush to live in the future, we forgot a fundamental rule of the physical world. Every door you open for yourself is a door you have potentially left unlocked for a stranger. We call it the smart home concept. But what happens when the house stops listening to you and starts listening to someone else? Let's talk about it in today's episode. I'm Rushen and you are listening to the Tech Files. To understand how your house becomes a haunted one, we need to talk about the Internet of Things, IoT in short. In the industry, there is an old joke. What does the S in IoT stands for? Get it? There is no S. And S represents security. Look, you pay $1,000 for your smartphone and laptop. They receive constant security updates from multi-billion-dollar corporations. They are built like fortresses. But your smart light bulb, your Wi-Fi connected slow cooker, your smart toothbrush, well, those are different stories entirely. These devices are what we call headless computers. They don't have a screen you can look at to see if something's wrong. They are built as cheaply as possible, often by manufacturers who are in a literal race to the bottom to dominate the market. When a company is trying to sell you a smart plug for $12.99, security by design is an expense they can't afford. Let's break down the anatomy of a vulnerability. First, the hard-coded password. Many smart devices ship with a default password like admin or 12345 that can't be changed. Hackers don't even have to break in. They just walk through the front door because the manufacturer left the key under the mat. Then update problem. Most of your IoT gadgets will never receive a single security patch. Once they leave the factory, their software is frozen in time. Meanwhile, hackers are getting smarter every single day. It's like leaving a 1920s bank vault in the middle of a modern city. Eventually, someone's going to figure out that the lock is obsolete. But here's the kicker. Your smart fridge does not even have to be the target to be a problem. In 2016, a piece of malware called Mirai took down massive chunks of the internet. Netflix, Twitter, Reddit, all crippled. The attack did not come from high-end computers like you would assume. It came from thousands of unsecured CCTV cameras and home routers. Mirai turns networked devices running Linux into remotely controlled bots that can be used in large-scale network attacks. Your smart toaster might not be able to steal your bank password, but it can be programmed to scream at a specific server at the exact same time as a million other toasters, effectively executing a DDoS attack. That is a distributed denial of service attack, which is basically overwhelming a website with so much traffic it crashes. The vulnerability is not just about someone watching you through your baby monitor, though that's a horrific violation and highly possible. The vulnerability is that we have populated our most intimate spaces with hollow shells of code waiting for someone to give them instructions. And as you're about to hear, the cost of this convenience is not just measured in data breaches, it is measured in something far more personal. There is a word we use for our homes. We call it the sanctuary. Historically, the home was the only place on earth where you held total sovereignty. Once you locked the door and pulled the curtains, the outside world ceased to exist. You were in control. But as we have integrated the Internet of Things into our floorboards and ceilings, that sense of sovereignty has not just been threatened, it's been auctioned off. Think about it. Before, if a light did not turn on, you knew the bulb was burnt out. You changed it, problem solved. Now, if a light does not turn on, you have to ask a dozen questions. Is the Wi-Fi down? Is the cloud server in Northern Virginia experiencing an outage? Did the latest firmware update break the integration with your voice assistant? You are not just living in your house anymore. You are managing it. You are checking apps to see if the front door is actually locked because you no longer trust the physical sensation of turning the bolt. You are receiving notifications that your dishwasher is low on salt or that your dryer has finished a cycle. We think these pings are helpful, but psychologically they are tethering us to our machines in a way that prevents us from ever truly switching off. Your home is no longer a place of rest. It is a dashboard that requires constant monitoring. And then there is the uncanny valley of domestic privacy. There is a specific kind of trauma that comes from being hacked inside your home. It is different from having your credit card number stolen or your Instagram account compromised. When someone hijacks your smart camera or speaks through your smart speaker, they are not just stealing your data, they are squatting in your private life. We are living in an era of technological gaslighting. We are told that these devices make us safer. We buy smart locks because we can check them from the office. We buy cameras so we can watch our kids. But the irony is that the more security tech we add, the more anxious we become. We have become like the character in a myth who makes a deal with a spirit for more power, only to realize too late that the spirit now owns the house. We have outsourced our peace of mind to a patchwork of sensors and code that wasn't even built with our safety as a priority. When we lose the ability to perform basic functions in our own homes without a high-speed internet connection, we have not just lost convenience, we have lost our agency. We have become guests in our own living rooms, waiting for a server halfway across the world to give us permission to turn up the heat. but it does not have to be this way. So, where does that leave us? Are we supposed to rip the smart thermostats off the walls, smash our speakers, and go back to reading by candlelight? Of course not. But there's a middle ground between being a digital hermit and being a victim in the digital space. It is a principle I call technological humility. Technological humility is the quiet recognition that technology is a tool, not a savior. It is the wisdom to realize that every magic trick has a trapdoor, even the ones in your living room. To practice it, we have to stop treating our tech as infallible and start treating it as a guest in our homes, a guest that needs boundaries. The first step of technological humility is the analog failsafe. This is the humble admission that the 1,000-year-old technology of a brass key and a physical deadbolt is in many ways superior to a digital sensor. Why? Because a brass key does not need a firmware update. A deadbolt does not care if your internet service provider is having a bad day. Technological humility means you can have the smart lock for the convenience of letting the dog walk in, but you never throw away your physical key. You maintain the analog backup because you are humble enough to know that the tech will fail. The second step is the air gap of privacy. We have been sold this idea that a smart home is an all or nothing proposition, that every room must be connected to the internet. Humility tells us otherwise. It suggests that some spaces are too sacred. Maybe the bedroom does not need a voice assistant. Maybe the nursery is better off with a simple, local-only baby monitor that does not broadcast to the cloud. By air gapping certain parts of your house, you reclaim your sanctuary. But the most important part of this lesson is about self-sufficiency. Over-reliance on tech erodes our basic human competence. If you don't know how to adjust your water heater without an app, or you feel helpless when the GPS fails, you have traded your agency for an illusion of ease. Technological humility is about staying practiced at being human. It is about occasionally doing things the hard way just to remind yourself that you can. It is the peace that comes from knowing that if the magic disappears tomorrow, you still know how to run your own life. We have to stop asking, what can this device do for me? And start asking, what am I giving up in exchange? When you buy a smart device, you are not just buying a feature. You are entering into a relationship. And in any healthy relationship, there must be boundaries. Humility allows us to enjoy the magic without becoming the assistant. It allows us to use the Internet of Things without becoming a thing ourselves. By shrinking the digital footprint of our homes, we actually expand the space for our own minds. We take back the keys. We clear out the ghosts. And we remember that the most sophisticated piece of technology in the room is the person standing in it. It's easy to feel like smart tech is already too far into your life to be exorcised. But the beauty of being the person who pays the electricity bill is that you still hold the power. As you go about your week, I want you to give you a small challenge. I call it the utility audit. Walk through your home and look at every device that is connected to your Wi-Fi. Ask yourself one simple question. Does this connection make my life significantly better, or does it just make it 1% more convenient? If you have a smart device that you haven't checked the app for in 6 months, factory reset it and take it offline. If you have a camera in a room where you value your privacy more than a push notification, unplug it. You'll be surprised how much lighter the air in your home feels when you start reclaiming those spaces. Just keep in mind that tech is a wonderful servant, but it is a terrible master. True smart living is not about having the most gadgets. It is about having the most control over your own environment. It is about being humble enough to value your peace over a cool party trick. Keep your firmware updated, keep your passwords complex, but above all, keep your analog backups close at hand. If this episode helped you rethink your relationship with your gear, share it with a friend, preferably in person, over a cup of coffee made by a machine that does not have an IP address. Stay human and stay humble. I would love to hear about your thoughts or questions. Please visit rushandvic.com to submit them by filling up the form. And don't forget to check out the links in the description. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.